What if one of the most powerful forces in human history wasn't a king, a general, or an army, but a virus? For thousands of years, smallpox silently shaped the destiny of civilizations. Long before antibiotics, long before modern medicine, the Variola virus moved across continents, leaving political collapse, social chaos, and imperial transformation in its wake.
Welcome to SciCuriousID, where curiosity meets science.
Smallpox is caused by the Variola virus, transmitted primarily through respiratory droplets and close contact. It carried a mortality rate of around 30%, sometimes higher. Survivors were often left scarred or blinded. But what made smallpox historically devastating wasn't just its lethality. It was immunity. In populations repeatedly exposed to the virus over centuries, such as in parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa, some level of population immunity developed. Not full protection, but enough to reduce total societal collapse. However, in regions where the virus had never circulated, smallpox was catastrophic. One of the earliest possible large-scale outbreaks occurred during the Antonine plague in the Roman Empire around 165 CE. Many historians believe smallpox was the likely cause. The disease killed millions, weakened military strength, disrupted trade, and contributed to long-term instability within Rome. While it didn't single-handedly destroy the empire, it significantly accelerated structural decline. But the most dramatic example of smallpox shaping empires came in the 16th century. When Spanish conquistadors arrived in the Americas, they did not come alone. Alongside steel weapons and horses came microbes. Indigenous populations in the Americas had no prior exposure to smallpox. With no inherited immunity, mortality rates in some regions reached 50 to 90%. In 1520, smallpox reached the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan. The epidemic killed enormous portions of the population, including Emperor Cuitlahuac. The resulting political instability and demographic collapse critically weakened the Aztec Empire just as Hernan Cortés advanced. What followed was not simply military conquest, it was biological devastation. A similar pattern unfolded in the Inca Empire. Around 1526, smallpox spread southward through trade routes even before Spanish forces physically arrived. The disease killed Emperor Huayna Capac and his designated heir, triggering a civil war between rival claimants. When Francisco Pizarro entered the empire in 1532, he encountered a society already fractured and weakened by epidemic. In both cases, smallpox did what armies alone likely could not: it destabilized entire civilizations from within. This pattern repeated elsewhere. In North America, waves of smallpox outbreaks devastated indigenous communities throughout the 17th and 18th centuries. In some areas, entire societies disappeared before Europeans ever directly encountered them. Land became easier to claim not because it was empty, but because disease had entered it. Smallpox was not a weapon deliberately engineered at first, but it functioned as one. Later, there were documented instances, such as during Pontiac's War in 1763, where infected blankets were allegedly distributed to Native Americans. Whether effective or not, the intent reflects growing awareness of disease as a strategic tool. Beyond the Americas, smallpox influenced succession crises and diplomatic power balances. Even monarchs were not spared. The disease killed rulers, altered inheritance lines, and reshaped royal bloodlines across Asia, Africa, and Europe. Yet the story does not end with devastation. In the late 18th century, a breakthrough emerged. Edward Jenner's development of the smallpox vaccine in 1796 marked the beginning of immunology as a scientific discipline. Vaccination gradually transformed smallpox from an unstoppable force into a controllable disease. After a global eradication campaign led by the World Health Organization, smallpox became the first, and so far only, human disease to be eradicated worldwide in 1980. Think about that for a moment. A virus that once toppled empires was completely removed from nature through coordinated scientific effort. Smallpox shaped trade routes, altered wars, collapsed dynasties, and accelerated colonization. It reminds us that power in history is not only measured in armies or technology, but also in biology. And perhaps the most profound lesson is this: microbes do not recognize borders, ideology, or empire. But understanding them can redefine humanity's future. So here's the question: if smallpox had never reached the Americas, how different would today's global power map look?
Thanks for watching SciCuriousID. Until next time.